So here I am making a video review of a game that came out well over a year ago and has since mostly died in the multiplayer because I like to spend a lot of time doing stuff that will end up being not useful to anyone at all. As you can see, mankind has blown up the moon as we've yearned to do for so long. It's a very pretty game with some interesting technologies, especially with the lighting. The game takes place entirely in Earth and Moon orbit, which is, no gravity, free fall, which makes for very interesting controls and orientation issues. You can conserve momentum like the actual, as you would in space with a spacesuit with thrusters. You keep going in whatever direction you were last going, and you can't stop on a dime. And you recoil your gun, pushes you back a bit. You have a bunch of different types of grenades, as you just saw there. I'll explain them as they come up. The orientation is interesting because attacks can come from anywhere. From that guy's perspective that I just killed, he would have seen me as upside down. Which makes for interesting movement options and attack options. You can get hit from any direction. You do have a radar that picks up on people whose suits are powered up. We'll cover that later. You shouldn't use grenades in a confined space for the reason I just showed. That was an impact grenade that knocks everyone back. There's other grenades that do, there's an EMP grenade which disables people's suits. There's a flare which blinds people. There's also 5 weapons. I'm using the default assault rifle now, which is a good balance of range and power and recoil and all that. Right there, that was a flare. Why I did that is that there's a battle going on with my guys on one side and their team on the other, so I launched the flare behind us so that when they looked at us, they'd be seeing essentially a second sun would be in their eyes and they wouldn't be able to see us nearly as well. That right there was an EMP grenade. Most of the game modes revolve around capturing these points in various orders and in various ways. In this mode, one team is trying to take control of all 4 points at the same time. There are iron sights, as you can see. There's a substantial amount of recoil in this game. If you have your suit on, it'll do some degree of recoil compensation with the thrusters, but not if it's off. The lighting in this game is really an integral part of the game. It's probably the best lighting I've ever seen in any game, and it matters because when you use your thrusters, you light up the area around you. When you fire, you light things up. The attacking from the sun behind you can make your attack more successful because your enemy has to look into it, or if you use flare grenades. Whether or not your suit's powered up will affect how visible you are. The full lights in your suit, the main thrusters are on. Lots of corpses floating about. That was a tank shot, meaning that I shot him right in his oxygen tank and blew it up, which is pretty cool looking. You can, like this guy just did, orient yourself. You can grab onto a surface, and your suit will grab onto it with its thrusters and push you down on it as if there were gravity. And you'll become oriented to that surface so long as your suit's on. This mode here is just plain old deathmatch, so there's no objectives to take. You can see the angles on the fight as you pass each other by can change pretty dramatically, so you have to move quite fast to keep up with it. It's almost like an old school shooter in that way, like with high movement rates. I just rushed that guy with a shotgun to... I EMP'd him first so that his suit shut down, which makes it so that he can't use his main thrusters to get away, and his suit functions like the HUD are gone, and it's harder for him to aim. I'm using the shotgun now, which in general is a very close range weapon as you'd expect, so you pretty much have to sneak up behind people and pop them. If they see you coming, they'll get you. A couple of EMP grenades went off up there. The reason you can hear sound is because the suit uses its radar to detect the firing of other people and then make a sound at the appropriate time. It's all in your head. It's a computer simulation. And here I'm selecting machine gun. So that's why if you turn your suit off into silent mode or you get hit with an MP, the sound actually stops. So I know a lot of people will say, oh, there's no sound in space, this is stupid, but it's actually a pretty clever way of handling it. Here I am latched onto the surface, like I was saying. It gives you extra stability. I went into silent mode to try to sneak up on these people. It's much easier when they don't see your thrusters because you're only using maneuvering thrusters instead of your main thrusters, so that they don't light up the nearby area. They also won't see you on your radar if you're in silent mode. Here I switch to the machine gun. That is an ice grenade, which is meant to obscure, so you can't see through it. It's camouflage, basically. It's like a smoke grenade. This is the sniper rifle. You really have to be oriented to a surface to use it, otherwise the recoil is just massive. So you're pretty much locked onto an asteroid. As you can see here, I'm going to use it while not being locked down to a platform, and it's just extremely difficult to use. That was the recoil right there, just huge recoil. No stability. I showed that part just because tank shots look cool. This is me throwing some ice grenades to cover my approach to the capture point up ahead, which failed because I didn't put them in the right spot to blind the enemy. But I get impeded there. You see my HUD goes away, and so does all of my reticles and anything to aim with, so you just have to walk your projectiles in, by seeing the tracers. I took a tank shot there. Sends your body off flying. Got hit by an impact, an MPR grenade, which sends you swirling off into the distance until you can get control of yourself again. This guy, he wasn't paying attention to me, so I decided to show you a melee attack, except I missed, and now he's paying attention to me. Decided to try that again, see if I can get close enough to do a melee attack, which is using your mining pick to rip open someone's suit, and I missed, but the guy's still completely oblivious that I'm there, so let's take a second shot. Got hit with an EMP grenade, but I still managed to get him. Instant kill if you manage to hit him with that. It's pretty tricky though. Overall, there's not a ton of depth. Pretty much what you see here is what you get. I didn't show nearly enough of the stealth gameplay in this video, where you turn off your suit and become invisible on radar and try to sneak by people and sneak up on them, but the basic mechanics of this game are very sound. The movement's intuitive, the gunplay is good. The game uses the setting of a low-gravity, open environment very well. It creates some interesting situations that you just don't see in other shooters because of all the different angles you can attack from, and the various grenades make gameplay interesting. Overall, I really think it's one of the indie multiplayer gems that have come out over the last couple of years that just don't get their due because everyone's off playing Call of Duty 17, playing the same thing they've done for the last 6 years, and it's unfortunate because it's a really solid game. It's something that's a lot of fun just to pick up for an hour and play here and there, but you do get bots both online and in single player, so even if the population's not too high, there's no campaign or anything, but you can play against the bots. You can at least do that. So if you can get this game at a reduced, price, $5, something around that, it's worth a try. It's definitely a unique experience, and if you've got a decent computer, it looks beautiful.